This lesson is just to show you around the various features of My Chinese Language to help you make the most of them. It assumes you are successfully logged in. Select any of the programs listed for you. These are the programs currently available, but it does depend on what you have purchased, and then select any lesson within that program. The previous and next buttons can also be used for navigation. By the way, you can leave My Chinese Language anytime, and the app remembers for you which lesson you have been looking at and what component you are working on. There are 5 show or hide components. The buttons labeled Lesson, Conversation, Sentences, Words and Quiz can be used to show or hide the selected component, keeping the screen uncluttered. Let's look first at the lesson. Each lesson has a Visio presentation to introduce new material, usually in some useful context. Native Chinese speakers share the platform, and relevant background material will add to your learning experience. Tap or click on the play button.
Hi, so you want to learn to speak and understand Chinese?
And the usual play controls will appear at the foot of the broadcast. If you wish, you can also follow the lesson by reading the text. Just scroll down to below. This is the text of the first lesson. If you follow the lesson by reading the text, pause, stop and start as usual to get the most out of each lesson. Each lesson is effectively a number of slides, and in the text there is a separate heading and paragraph for each slide. Now we'll look at the conversation. The conversation is delivered here both as text and as an audio recording. Conversation is repeated in conversational English, which is the first one, Chinese characters, which is the second one, pinyin is the third one, and then also the literal English, which you'll be learning a lot about as an essential component of this course. And you can also listen to the audio. Now let's look at sentences. Any sentence introduced in the lesson or in the conversation is listed separately here, so that you can hear it again at any time just by clicking the audio button at the end of each row. I am ready.
I am ready.
The literal English column is the important link between English and Chinese for this course, because the literal English is a word-for-word translation of the equivalent in Chinese. Remember the sentence from the introduction, I went shopping yesterday. This translates literally as I yesterday go buy thing, which in Chinese is 我昨天去买东西. Both the pinyin and characters are given everywhere in this course. In fact, we have taken considerable trouble to ensure that you always know how each Chinese sentence is constructed by transliterating the Chinese way of saying things. You can also see a list of every sentence encountered so far up to the current point. Looking at the words tab, this table lists the individual words introduced in the current lesson. To hear the word by itself, just press the audio button.
Country.
By the way, some words in English have more than one use, as you would know, so that depends on the context, and the same goes for Chinese words, of course. So we have this column headed Example Use, which clarifies the context in which the word is being used. There's also an option to list every word that you have encountered so far. Quite a lot already. Final tab button, the quiz, which takes you to this. You have the option of one or both of pinyin and characters in the quiz, and also the option of including in the quiz a cumulative set of questions on everything studied up to this point. And each of your scores in each of these options is retained for you, and you can see your scores up here. When you are ready, press I want to try this task. It is being constructed on the fly, which means it'll be different every time. Your responses are all recorded and can be analyzed for reporting signs of progress. So that's My Chinese Language. Let's begin.